Welcome into the Paul Farrington Show. Paul joined by Jack Weinberger and Robert Ziggy Ziegler at the University of Virginia for an NFC North Week 8 preview show, guys. The best division in football. 4 teams, all with 4 more wins, 2 or less losses. Kind of crazy how good the NFC North has been. Sorry, Jack, no Steelers in this episode today. Just brief, little side episode.
Fine by me.
Jack Steelers looking pretty good, though.
I mean, we'll stay silent. Fine by me.
I think this is where the Steelers want to be. The Steelers want to have no one talking about them while they're just the best team in the AFC North.
Fine by me.
It's a great spot to be in. The NFC North stays red hot with the Lions' big win, the Packers' big win over the Texans. The only team that didn't walk away with a neutral or positive outcome was our Minnesota Vikings, which kind of sucks. But that's the way it is. We weren't going to go undefeated. It just wasn't going to happen. If you're enjoying these shows, we had a really, really great Week 7 reaction with a bunch of people watching. Over 70,000 people, Jack, tuned in to watch this show with the Week 7 reaction episode. So that was really cool. Please remember to
we're right close to 14,000 subscribers. We might be at 14,000 by the time you're watching this.
We're extremely close.
Because my last time recording was a week ago.
Has it been that long?
Yeah, I wasn't here for the Sunday reaction.
Oh, so this will shoot us way over 14,000.
And then I wasn't here for the Monday show. I guess Ziggy and I both weren't.
Yeah, I did a solo. It's good to have you guys back. I was all by myself for that one.
You should have had sock puppets of me and Ziggy.
That was running through my head before I started. I decided going solo would be good. I couldn't find headphones that fit the sock puppet for Ziggy's guy. So
that's fair.
So yeah, if this hasn't convinced you, like, comment, subscribe. We appreciate everyone who's been listening. You can always catch us on audio if you cannot listen or watch on YouTube.
I feel like a sock puppet of Ziggy would sell because people would use a sock puppet for something.
You have glasses,
like glasses, headphones, like a sock puppet.
We're not doing
sock
this.
I want bobbleheads. I think a bobblehead of Ziggy would be great.
Bobblehead would probably be better, but sock puppet.
Jack, I know what you're thinking with the sock puppet. Put that thought away.
Ziggy, where's your mind going, man?
Ziggy, come on, man. Cool it down. It's a PG show. All right, so we got 4 preview games for the NFC North here. We're going to start with the NFC North leading Detroit Lions. They're 5-1 now, tied with the Vikings atop, but they have the tiebreaker. Detroit hosting Tennessee. The Lions are on a 4-game win streak. They're averaging 30.33 points per game right now. That's second in the NFL. The offense has looked unstoppable. They're going against the Titans defense that's had their ups and downs on the year. But you saw what Josh Allen and a good Buffalo offense did against them. I think everyone agrees the Lions offense is better than the Bills. Josh Allen just went to town on them last week. So this is a really favorable spot. It looks like, again, this is all on paper. All we can do is predict, but we've been pretty hot with our NFC North predictions. Jack, you said, why are we even talking about this game?
Yeah, if the Lions are just physically on the field, they'll win. That's the key to win the game.
Well, Jameson Williams will not be physically on the field. He's got a 2-game suspension for performance-enhancing drugs, I believe. So I don't think it's going to make a big impact this week, but he won't be there this week or in Green Bay the week after. So don't do drugs, kids.
Well, they're in that DARE program, right? That's the little thing. The big thing for me is the Lions. We know one of the top 3 team in football. No reason they shouldn't destroy Tennessee at home. But you're off back-to-back really impressive wins on the road where you blow out Dallas, and then you come back and beat Minnesota in a close game. The most important thing is just not to come home flat and lazy and overlook the Titans. Because it's the NFL, and that's where you get got in situations like that. You got to treat Tennessee like they're Minnesota, like they're Green Bay, like they're Dallas, and take care of business. If they do that, there's no reason to believe this game's even close.
There are always those spots where you can overlook because Detroit, they're coming off the huge win against Dallas, and they're coming off the Vikings game, which was might wind up being the biggest game of the year within the division. Yeah, this is a spot where you go, oh, it's just the Titans, and Mason Rudolph, I believe, is still starting at this point. So
it looks like they're leaning Will Levis.
Are they leaning Levis? Okay, last I saw was kind of up in the air. So
that doesn't matter.
Regardless, Levis or Mason Rudolph playing. There's no one on this team that you really fear at the moment. I like Tony Pollard, Calvin Ridley's fun, but there's no Justin Jefferson on this
team.
There's
no DeAndre Hopkins.
There's no CeeDee Lamb.
He's gone now.
There's no DeAndre Hopkins now either. But I think that Detroit, with the offensive line they have, we've said it quite a few times now, how they can just punish you up front. Titans run defense is allowing 113.3 yards per game right now. If you get Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery was off. He was a little banged up against the Vikings. Hopefully he's a little bit healthier. I can see Detroit just doing exactly what they do, steamrolling them up front. Those guys are running like crazy. Once you start bringing more guys down to stop the run, Jared Goff continues his onslaught. Like, there's just no world here. And the Titans offense is not good enough to keep up. Like, the Vikings could make some plays to get back in the game. The Titans offense will not be able to keep up.
What's their nickname? Is it like Shepherd and Knucklehead or something? What am I thinking of? The two running backs, Gibbs and
did they come up with something?
Montgomery, yeah.
Ziggy, can you Google search that in the moment here?
Yeah.
Good and Great, is that their nickname?
No. It's something like
that's pretty good.
What am I thinking of?
I have no idea.
Sonic and Knuckles.
That's what it is.
Did they come up with Sonic and Knuckles? That's awesome.
Well,
I was thinking of
Sonic and Knuckles. Sega came up with
I know Sonic and Knuckles exist.
I was thinking of the bar in Hoboken.
No, it fits. I like that more than Thunder and Lightning.
Shepherd and Knucklehead.
Thunder, Lightning, like whatever. But Sonic, Speedy, Knuckles, like hits you hard. Sure.
Yeah, that was it. I was thinking of a bar in our state, Shepherd and Knucklehead. But Titans, Sonic and Knuckles, that's what it is.
The Titans' pass offense is last in yards per game, as the lowest QB rate over the course of the season so far too. So the Detroit offense, we've had some Detroit fans who've gotten upset with us over the past few weeks because we've said the defense is the one spot where you could potentially attack them as the year goes on. And the secondary's been okay for Detroit. I don't want to act like it's been horrible. Brian Branch is amazing. He's going to be a stud. But the Titans offense
has a weakest
point. Every team has a weakest point. And for Detroit, it would wind up being the defense there. Now with Aiden Hutchinson out, I mean, that only elevates everything. But they've been generally pretty good. And the Titans offense is not going to be the one that catches you off guard. Like, I'd be shocked if I turn on this game and it's not a double-digit Detroit win.
Yeah, what's the line? 12.5? 13 and
11.5.
11.5 was last I saw.
It's huge.
It is. I mean, it's a pro game, but it's the type of game where I feel if Detroit is there just mentally taking care of business, they're up 14-0 in the blink of an eye. Whether it be Mason Rudolph or Will Levis, they're not coming back. I just don't. I know the whole world is thinking how we're thinking, but there's just no way Tennessee should be in this football game.
Yeah, and let's not forget, right? We talk about the defense, but the Lions are getting a significant gain. I think a lot of people have forgotten that they signed Emmanuel Mosley because he had that, I believe, pectoral injury in training camp. He's coming back this week. And even though he's been injured a lot, this is a guy you can put on your first team defense, put him in slot corner, even play him starting at cornerback. This is a guy who can play big football. I think it's going to make a huge difference that he's coming back.
I read it wrong before, guys. The Titans' rush defense was 7th in the NFL, actually, with 105.5 yards per game allowed. So still, I'd like to see how they do against the Detroit 1-2 punch of Montgomery. And
they just traded Ernest Jones away.
Yeah, poorly.
They got worse on defense this week. They got worse on offense. I mean, look, I'll say this. I think that Dan Campbell is a great coach. I think it's obvious that he gets guys fired up and ready to play, right? That's his thing. And it seems like he does this every week without fail. I would be shocked if he's the kind of coach that lets them overlook this game. I don't think Lions fans need to be worried that they're going to be asleep for this one.
Do you guys think so in the solo show that I did, I said right now Jared Goff would be my MVP of the league. Is that wrong? You think it's Lamar? I mean, those two have clearly created separation, right?
Yeah, I'd say so. I just saw a stat on Lamar. I forget exactly what it was. But
I didn't realize as I was recording that Lamar had thrown 5 touchdowns in the Bucs game.
Was that it? It was the first quarterback. I don't know the exact stat, but I would lead Lamar over Jared Goff.
But those two are clearly. Is there anyone else in the discussion at the moment? Like Josh Allen's probably third if you had to. I know Mahomes and Stroud are the other two guys in the top 5. Like Mahomes is clearly
guessing that they're going to turn it on.
I don't think Mahomes and Stroud are close to Lamar Goff.
With the way I'm talking the way they played this season.
So far,
Derrick Henry actually should probably be in that top 5. He's been unbelievable.
To me, it's Lamar 1, Goff 2.
Okay,
and then I don't really. It's a drop off.
But that's the thing. If you get an MVP level Jared Goff, that makes Detroit close to unbeatable. When he's not making mistakes, and he really hasn't made many mistakes for quite a while now. The
Bucs game was the last game where he really struggled.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. See, that's the game they lose, and it makes sense. Your quarterback plays bad, you lose. But with Detroit, everything around him is so complete that when he's on, they're the one of the few teams in the league that I think you're just helpless when it's all clicking. And as a fellow NFC North supporter, it sucks watching Detroit and they get in that zone. You go like, no one can stop this offense. So we'll see. I want to see what happens without Jameson Williams because he's stepped up this year. He's been a little quieter recently, but taking away his potential, his deep threat, like how does that impact the receiving game? He will be back in a few weeks, but I want to just see the impact of that second receiver there. I'm sure it'll be fine because you still got Laporta, you have Amon-Ra, but
yeah, man, I'd have more questions if they weren't playing against the Titans.
I'm just saying, guys. I know that this isn't like Jack in particular is not a big running back guy, but the teams atop the league right now, like Baltimore and Detroit, phenomenal running backs. The 49ers are hurting without their phenomenal running back. The Eagles, I think Saquon has just been huge for that offense. Like, there's that elite tier of running backs that makes like. Wouldn't you agree that Jahmyr Gibbs was worth the selection?
It's the two MVP for running quarterbacks.
I'm telling you, you take Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery off that team. When Derrick Henry off, it's different.
I mean, yeah, if you put dramatically worse players at positions, teams do worse.
Well, running backs matter. A lot of people say you could just put in any running back.
I think if you have
Jack.
I think if you have a very good O line, you can. I mean, Jahmyr Gibbs in his second year.
Like if you put Chuba, I like Chuba Hubbard. I think he's a solid NFL running back. He's okay. If you put Chuba Hubbard on Baltimore, what do you think?
Look, I mean, Baltimore was
or Detroit.
Baltimore was the 1 seed last year and led the league in rushing.
What do you think? I think that Derrick Henry gives them a new factor.
Who was that dude on Baltimore who was amazing last year?
Keaton Mitchell?
Yeah. No.
Keaton Mitchell was great.
I think if you have a good line and a good quarterback, you are a good team.
So if you put Chuba Hubbard on Detroit, you don't think that they lose much?
It's the same thing.
What do you think?
I'm serious.
If you take away
Montgomery
Montgomery and Gibbs,
lose as much because I think they're really it's
the
good
same
all
thing.
over the field.
Dude, it's the same thing.
This sounds like it's a shot at Chuba Hubbard. What about? I don't want to take shots at this.
You can put any running
back.
back.
You put Alexander Madison as the lead back for the Lions. I like Alexander Madison, but he's not Jahmyr Gibbs.
Yeah. Well, I think he's great still. I think they're probably still 5-1. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Gibbs and Montgomery.
I think you can replace most players on the Lions. Like take any individual player with an average player, and they're still probably 5-1. I just think the team's really good.
You put me, replace me, Derrick Henry with me in that Baltimore run offense. It's still we're the same.
Stop it.
I'm serious.
Stop it. Derrick Henry's been. All right. We're moving on here.
Well, hold on. Before we move off this game, we're rolling out a new segment this week.
Oh,
I don't know. Do you want me to make the bold predictions at the end of each game or at the end of the episode?
Sure, yeah. Ziggy has a bold prediction, he said, for each NFC North game. So we're going to end each game preview with Ziggy's bold take of the game. So what's going to happen here, Ziggy? What bold prediction do you have?
Jack, I need to tap Jack on this one. Hey, Jack, you remember Mason Rudolph, right?
Of course I do.
Is he good?
I think he was the best QB we've had since Big Ben.
Is he mobile?
He's mobile enough.
I don't think he's very mobile. Mason Rudolph, he took 3 sacks last week, and everybody's talking about Detroit. Are they going to be able to survive out Aiden Hutchinson? With Aiden Hutchinson, they averaged 3 sacks a game. I think this Titans offensive line is bad. I think getting rid of DeAndre Hopkins is a disaster. I know they have to, but it's going to make the team much worse in the short term. I think Mason Rudolph's got no clue what he's doing. The Lions were able to get, 4.5 sacks against the Vikings last week. I think they're going to improve on that dramatically. No Aiden Hutchinson, no problem. I think this team gets 6 sacks or more against the Titans.
6 sacks?
I think they are going to absolutely murder Mason Rudolph, and then whoever they have to bring in to replace
You just said
Mason
Will Levis is playing in the game, though, no?
If Will Levis plays, it's going to be even worse.
Yeah,
Mason Rudolph is the best case scenario.
Yeah, Rudolph's probably better.
If Will Levis plays, we're still unsure about the shoulder. That guy, he takes 5 or 6 sacks a game, it feels like. He's always getting hit back there. I think this Lions defensive line is going to.
How about if the Titans win, Jack and I do a little coffee and mayo on the show?
Sure.
I mean, yeah, the Titans upset them.
I'll be willing to say if they don't lose by double digits, they're going to get killed.
No. We can't risk that. Do you remember how bad that was?
I thought it was fine.
Drinking cold coffee with mayo. I mean, that was just, oh my God.
It tastes like a turkey sandwich with some caffeine.
No. Remember when you got the sip? You got the sip with mayo. It's on video. Disgusting.
Yes. Yeah, it was gross.
Abhorrent. All right, the Bears and the Commanders. I'm really upset about this game, guys. I was really looking forward to the Jaden Daniels, Caleb Williams matchup, and it's not confirmed yet that Marcus Mariota is going to be starting for the Commanders, but all indications are that it's trending in that direction.
I was ready to
And it
hammer
should
the
be
Commanders.
trending in that direction, right? Jaden Daniels, he's shown he's your long-term guy. He's shown honestly he can win you games this week. You don't want to risk his health over one game against the Chicago Bears. They have a decent chance of winning anyway.
Oh yeah, I've seen some people say that maybe Jaden would want to rush back to prove a point versus Caleb's team, and I mean that's ridiculous.
He might, but you don't want to do that.
I love the Commanders regardless of who plays in this game.
Well, that's the funny thing is a lot of Bears fans who actually, it seems like Bears fans were looking forward to the matchup as well, but they're like, hey, I mean, we'll take it if Marcus Mariota is playing. We're trying to make the playoffs right now. The playoffs are a real possibility in Chicago, so they're welcoming the Marcus Mariota versus Caleb Williams matchup. But yeah, Jack, so you say you're taking the Commanders. I think that's interesting because most casual people, I mean, most people aren't as analytical and savvy as you are, but most casual people would say, oh, Jaden Daniels is out, I'm going with the Bears immediately. But one thing before you give your spiel.
That's why most casuals are dumb.
Yeah, well, I think that the thing about the Bears is they are playing really well, but I'm not as confident in Caleb Williams and that offense to consistently be very good as I am Jaden Daniels and the Commanders when he's playing. Jaden Daniels, to me, he's obviously been the better rookie quarterback so far, and Caleb has gotten a lot better. But watching Jaden just seems, okay, will consistently be at this level when he's playing. Caleb is just kind of reaching that, and if he's consistent again this week, then that's 4 straight games of very good quarterback play, and maybe we have to change our tune. But I need a little bit more before I'm fully convinced.
This is a game where it's a rise to the occasion, play for your injured quarterbacks type of game situation. Their defense gets after Caleb Williams. I think every man steps up. It's the next man up, and they ball out at home for Jaden Daniels. And they say, Caleb Williams, our quarterback is better than you. This is for Jaden Daniels on our home field. Let's get after this bum. Let's slow down his momentum, and let's win this guy. I think it's Commanders big as a home dog.
As I said,
I'm going to say Commanders really, really big as a home dog. I think Mariota plays well. I think he carves out the Bears defense. I think the Commanders defense gets after Caleb. And this is for their injured rookie, Jaden Daniels. Hey, we'd rather have him than you, Caleb.
Analytical and savvy.
The Commanders.
As I said.
By double digits.
Ziggy, since you...
double digits. I don't care about no stats.
Ziggy, since you look into the game a little bit. Where do you come down on Commanders
Wait,
Bears?
hold on. Looking into the game can mean two.
No, Jack. You should let me say what I want to say. You might like what I.
But looking into the game,
no, go on. Let him.
It's two different. I look into the game differently than Ziggy looks into the game.
Let's see what
we
Ziggy
both look into the game.
Let's see what Ziggy.
The Commanders started the season on one of the worst defenses in the NFL. It was a huge problem through 5 or 6 weeks, right? They gave up 37 to the Buccaneers. They gave up 33 to the Bengals. They almost lost to the Giants. Like, the defense was a huge problem. And ever since they played the Browns, I mean, Deshaun Watson was a get-right machine for NFL defenses. The defense has played substantially better. Obviously, the Ravens ran all over them, but it's very hard to fault them for not shutting down the Baltimore Ravens. That's very hard to do. And I'm really excited with what I saw against the Panthers. It's easy to say they're the Panthers. Of course, you limit Andy Dalton to under 100 yards and 2 interceptions. Of course, you hold Chuba Hubbard to 17 carries for 52 yards. But that's not what we've seen, right? The Falcons weren't able to do that. The Bengals weren't able to do that. The Bears weren't able to do that to the same extent. This Commanders defense has become not an elite unit, but at least an average unit in the NFL. And I think we saw last week, Marcus Mariota, he was lights out. Again, you can say it's against the Panthers. Yeah, sure, whatever. Marcus Mariota played really well for this team. So honestly, I think the Bears should be slight favorites going in. But if your position is the Bears are going to go in and roll the Commanders, I think the Commanders are going to win this game. I think that Marcus Mariota is good enough. I think the defense is good enough that they will force some mistakes out of the Bears. And if you can limit the Bears' running game, right? DeAndre Swift has been the engine for this team. I know Caleb Williams has played very well, but it's all started with what DeAndre Swift's been able to do. If you can limit what he can do, I think the Commanders will be able to do that. The run game looks a lot better. Marcus Mariota can take you to the promised land of a win against the Chicago Bears.
He's better than Caleb Williams.
I like Marcus
That's a bit
Mariota.
much.
There are bad backup quarterbacks, and Marcus Mariota is not a bad backup quarterback.
He's one of the 3 or 4 best backups in the NFL.
Yeah, he is absolutely suitable, and he can win games.
We have the best backup in the NFL by far in Justin Fields.
Yeah, actually, you might. Yeah.
I mean, come on. Yeah.
You have an excellent backup. Unfortunately, your starter isn't great either. But
are you kidding?
We'll get it into the full episode preview. Is gonna be fun.
We're the second best team in the NFL.
The full week preview is gonna be a lot of fun. Ziggy, I hear everything you're saying. I feel that you're kind of giving the Panthers a little too much because the Panthers are really bad. They
really won
bad
40-7.
Yeah, no, it's a dominant win. The Panthers are horrible. Like let's be real. The Panthers suck. I'm not putting too much weight into it was an impressive win, but I'm not gonna sit back here and say, "Oh, the Commanders beat the Panthers by 40 points." Like it's automatic now. I think that Marcus Mariota has a much different challenge against the Bears defense. Jalen Johnson, he talk about someone who's earning his contract right now, 20.8 QB rate against him this year, 5 passes defense, 2 interceptions, and no touchdowns allowed. He's going to get Terry McLaurin allowed the game. McLaurin's been awesome this year, but for a backup like Mariota to come in, who hasn't played a lot with the starters, he hasn't seen a lot of in-game action this year. That felt to me like more of a situation where you see backup QBs come into games sometimes and just play really well, and then the second week they kind of fall back a bit more. This will be a close game. I don't think the Bears run away with it the way they did against the Jaguars. The Commanders are a hard-nosed football team, but Caleb has had 3 straight games where he's had over 100 QB rating, 7 touchdowns, 1 interception. He's looked really good. And I think this is the game where, even though I said you could question whether or not you believe in him, I think this is the game where we see the 4th good game. The Bears win a tighter one and go to 5-2.
And he's played against like bums. Who has he played?
Who'd they have? They had the Jaguars. They had was the Colts one of them?
No, he lost.
No, they played the Jaguars. They played the Panthers. They played the Rams.
The Panthers. I'm sorry. I was thinking different. Mixed up my big cats. Yeah, those are pretty bad.
Who was 2? It was the Jags and the Panthers.
You mixed up your big cats?
Jags.
You said the Jaguars.
Yeah.
Jags, Panthers.
Jags and Panthers.
Yeah.
Do you think Colts are cats?
No, I mixed up my AFC. I was all over the place.
So point being is he played guys that Ziggy could carve up. So we'll see.
Yeah, if Jaden Daniels was playing in this game, I think the Commanders win. And I think the Commanders win like fairly comfortable.
I don't think Mario is much worse than Jaden Daniels.
Mario's fine, but he doesn't have the same. No, stop it.
This is a little Pac-12 rivalry, Oregon and USC.
I'm excited. I'm still excited to watch it. I think this is a good test for the Bears, regardless.
Yeah. I mean, if the Bears are able to go on the road and beat the Commanders, then they go to Arizona, then they host the Patriots. They could be putting themselves. They have a chance over the next 3 weeks. I'm not saying they're going to go 7-2, but these are 3 highly winnable games.
They'd be one of the most
going
fake 7-2 teams of all time. You should
be able to win. Hosting the Patriots, you should be able to win. Going to the Commanders without Jaden Daniels, you should be able to win. The Bears control their playoff destiny at this point.
That would be a 5-4 team.
No, they'd
in
be
a 7-2 team
they'd
spot.
That'd be a 2-8 team in a 7-2 spot. That would be the worst.
No. But we got to give them credit. Like they've played good football. If they're 7-2, and that would possibly be that could be the top seed in the conference. If they're if they're 7-2,
I mean, they won't stay there. But once you're 7-2, they just have to win 3.
Oh yeah,
games
no. I think the Bears being a playoff team is very fair. They feel like a 7 seed to me.
If the Bears get the 1 seed in the NFC,
well, yeah, that's not happening. But if they're a 7 seed, I think they deserve to. Like right now, they look like they're on that playoff fringe to me, and the way they've played. I just think if they get to 7-2, now we're really talking about the discussion about Chicago will be how good can this team really be, and I think that's what I'm going to say. Let's take a step back and appreciate a really good season, but also acknowledge that this is more of a wild card team now, and the next year you could take that lead.
No, if they're 7-2,
well, maybe here's what you got to do.
I know that's what people are going to say.
Win this game.
If they're 7-2, why? There's only 7 games left. Why can't they get?
No. I'd be all for Chicago people being excited. I would just say, be prepared to come down to earth because while you are 7-2, your team is more. It's more of a wild card.
They're going to lose. They'll lose on Sunday. They'll lose on Sunday. That'll be it.
But no, it's exciting. It's fun. Given Ziggy and I went to school an hour and a half away from Chicago. We went to a big Bears-Vikings game one night. when that team is going, and that was during the year that they went 12-4, I think it was.
That was one of the worst nights of my life.
That was a horrible night. They were 12-4 that year, and Chicago gets going, man. I mean, that is a fun city when the Bears are good. So it's exciting that they're back to good football. Okay, the Packers and the Jaguars. So the Packers have won 3 straight games.
Oh, God. I mean, come on.
They've won 5 of their last 6. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying, come on. What are we doing here? 6-2 teams, Ziggy. 82.5% chance to make the playoffs over the course of NFL history. So if they win this game, they're in pretty good shape according to the history books. The offense has been rolling, 26.6 points per game this year. That's 7th in the league. Jordan Love has 15 touchdowns to 8 interceptions. I mean, again, slinging it all over the place, whether it's to his team or the other team. Jordan Love he's been explosive. He's been fun to watch all year. And we said a couple weeks ago, the Jaguars secondary is putrid. It's been horrible this season. It's 27.7 points per game allowed. It's 30th in the league. They're 100. Listen to these numbers: 113.7 rate against passers, 16 touchdowns and 1 interception for the Jags defense this year. They've just been really bad. So I wonder what Ziggy's bold claim is going to be following this.
I'm excited for
this Packers Jaguars game here. But right now on paper, just taking a look at this, it is in Jacksonville. But it feels like a spot where the Packers offense should be too much, even if Jacksonville's able to keep up in the first half or so.
Do the Packers have road games?
Yeah,
like
this
stadium is going to be overtaken with Packers fans.
It'll be a Packer home game. Yeah, 100%.
It's like the Steelers.
It's like the Steelers.
So that's just how I'm feeling right now. Is maybe we see a better Jaguars offense. They had their best game of the year by far against the Patriots. And thanks Bigsby as a Travis Etienne fantasy manager. I feel like I'm a broken record here. I just can't. I can't do it anymore. He's not even playing at this point. I know he's hurt, but Tank Bigsby just looks good. He had a pretty big game. 26 carries, 118 yards, 2 touchdowns last week. Trevor Lawrence wasn't sacked. 20 pass attempts, no QB hits. So the offense for Jacksonville sort of finally found their rhythm. But New England's a much different team than Green Bay. And I think while the Jaguars are probably going to keep it a little close maybe in the beginning, Green Bay will just be too much and they'll pull ahead at the end here.
You know why Tank Bigsby's name is Tank? Or his nickname is Tank?
Why?
Because when he was I saw this today, when he was 1 year old, he was just a lunatic. He'd run into things and knock things down, and he was just out of his mind as a 1-year-old. And
do you think he's going to do that to the Packers?
Well, he might. It could be a sign. But it is either his mom or his dad was like, this kid's a tank. And I'm serious. And they've been calling him Tank Bigsby for the rest of his life, ever since he was 1 year old. He'd run over things. He'd wreck things. And his dad was
sounds like a cap of the week type.
Is it the Jags? Maybe it is. I've met Tank Bigsby when I was in Auburn. I saw him at a bar.
Packers defense gave up 115 yards and 2 touchdowns to Mixon last week. Just saying.
But here's the thing about this Packers defense is if you look at the defense this year in rankings, it's basically the same as last year. This year, they're 16th in yards. Last year, they were 17th in yards. This year, they're 10th in touchdowns against per game. Last year, they were 11th. But the defense has a completely different feel, right? This year, it feels like they're aggressive. They swarm the ball. They generate turnovers. Just the vibe of the defense is completely different. So I think you can point to the yards they've given up and the points they've given up and maybe so. But against this Jaguars team and against Trevor Lawrence, I think the feel of this defense and the fact that they're willing to play aggressive is going to do a whole lot more for them. I think they're going to be able to play clean on offense, and I do not think they're going to get the Jaguars to play clean on offense.
Well, they didn't get to the quarterback last year. Remember, that was the whole thing that we focused the big turnaround on at the end of the season was they finally figured out how to get after the quarterback, and that aided. There were a bunch of things that led to the Packers turnaround last year, but it was Jordan. Obviously, Jordan Love's resurrection was the biggest part of that. But then the defense finally figured out how to pass rush, and they started getting after quarterbacks and forcing turnovers. And that's what they've been doing all of this year. And so, yeah, I totally get it. While there's definitely a different feel, but the pass rushing has just been better too. They've been more aggressive and more successful.
Yeah, this is a spot too where game-winning field goal for Green Bay last week against Houston.
Yep, McManus.
They have back-to-back home games, correct? The Packers, and they won them both.
They had the Vikings, then they Didn't they go?
They beat somebody.
The
home.
Cardinals in Arizona, I thought. Oh, no, he's at home. So they've had 3 straight home games.
So 3 straight home games. I mean, now you're traveling, you go on the road. Like it's the same to me as a situation like Detroit, but kind of, I guess, just playing on the road now. Is you're playing a much, much, much inferior team, but you got to treat them like they're up there with Minnesota and
I feel like and they went to the Rams. That's who they went to after the Vikings.
Right.
Vikings at home, then at the Rams, host the Cardinals, host the
I mean, it's got to
Texans.
be nice for Packer fans too. McManus game-winning field goal after these kicker struggles you've had in recent weeks.
And he barely snuck that in there too.
And that's the funny part. Yeah, he did.
he that was pretty close. That was way too close for
the
comfort.
outcome that matters.
That's exactly what it is.
I bet you McKinney picks off Trevor Lawrence at least once. That's my bold prediction.
Okay, so here's the question.
Is that really a
to ask
bold
yourself
prediction?
as you're thinking about what's going to happen this game. The Jaguars had a home game functionally against the Bears. I know it was in London, but they'd been there for a week. They were like doing their thing. It was the Jaguars in London. And the Bears go in and absolutely knock their socks off. Win by 19. Caleb Williams has the best game of his career. Trevor Lawrence plays okay but struggles. Absolutely no run game. There's only one question you have to ask yourself. Who's better? The Chicago Bears or the Green Bay Packers? Look, I'm not happy to say, right? I'd love for the answer to be the Chicago Bears because the Packers are having an off year. We all know what the answer to that question is. 4-point favorite seems silly to me.
Yeah, I like it too. The reason it's a close game is because Jacksonville looked really good against New England. That's why.
Yeah, and
New England's New England.
And it's not in Lambeau.
I mean, Drake May went for 276 and 2 touchdowns. Like Drake May lit up that defense. They won comfortably, but Drake May played pretty well. So I think Jordan Love's going to have a huge game. And look for Tucker Kraft too. Just saying, the tight ends have been pretty successful against Jacksonville this year. He's a touchdown in 3 of the last 4 games. Tucker Kraft's been playing really good football as well.
Although, you know what and you're going to think I'm just saying this to say it, but it's true. I think it holds some weight. They were in Europe across the pond for 14 days? 2 straight weeks. Now you get back to America. It's nice to sleep in your own bed. It's nice to sleep in your own bed. Kind of get things to how you're used to being. Maybe they come out here excited to see their own stadium again, excited to be in their country, in their own beds, and maybe they come out and play well.
Dude, I'm telling you,
I could see a world. I could see a world.
No, and I want to go off.
You're back in your own bed. You're thrilled. You're happy to be back. Let's go win this game in our home stadium now.
I like Europe.
Like when I'm away for 2 weeks and I'm back home, I'm the happiest man in the world.
No, I like Europe, Jack. I think it's very pretty. It's fun to go tourist sighting. Like it's a good time, but like there's just something about America that's just for me growing up here. I'm sure people who grew up in Europe feel a good way, but when I was over in Rome, I was studying abroad for a year. I was like, I miss television, real television.
Okay, you studied abroad for a year. You studied abroad for like 3 weeks,
7 weeks. But I missed a good burger. I like all that stuff that when you come back home, what's the first thing Tony Stark wanted? A cheeseburger. And like that's the kind I could see the Jaguars coming back. They've been there, they've been gone, and they've been in a foreign world for 3 weeks.
Yeah,
I get what you're saying.
They're going to gorge themselves on cheeseburgers, get bloated, and play horribly.
Play great.
Hammer
cheeseburgers, hammer milkshakes, hammer pizza, and play fantastic.
Did you guys see? Unfortunately, I've really dove into like Packer Twitter now. Given that our show has so many Packer fans, like Packer Twitter pops up all the time for me. And I saw the Green Bay Packers released the edit of the Kraft touchdown that said like you're piss hot versus cold. It's like, what the hell is this? Because all the Packers fans are saying this is the funniest thing I've ever seen. I didn't realize that in 2021, Matt LaFleur said, I want my guys waking up with their piss hot. And the reporter said to him, she's like, I'm sorry, what the hell does that mean? And most Packer fans listening to this are going to know what I'm talking about, but basically everyone else, I'd imagine, has no clue. And LaFleur just looked at her and was like, is that not how it should be? I was like, what the is this?
Well, I'll tell you who's going to help.
Who is this guy?
Your piss shouldn't be cold, right?
I don't know. I feel like when you're healthy, you're hydrated.
No, when you're hydrated, it's warm.
I don't think hot.
Have you tested?
I don't think piss is ever cold.
But it's like it could be. I think it's like warm to neutral.
I drink
not
piss.
hot. Oh God! All right.
It's always warm.
I'll tell you who's gonna. I'll just say this. I'll tell you who's gonna help heat things up in the building. Robert Saleh is there at practice taking notes. It looks like he knows LaFleur well. It looks like he might be coming in as a consultant to help out that defense.
I like that.
I think, yeah, I mean, if they're able to grab him, he's sort of floating between jobs. Reporters have said they didn't want to put it out there early because they weren't sure what it was going to be. But if you're at practice taking notes and talking with the head coach, you're in the building. I think it's going to it can't but help in order to bring Saleh in with what this defense is trying to accomplish.
Do you have a bold prediction for this game, Ziggy?
Yeah, here's my bold prediction. Jordan Love, 4+ passing touchdowns. I get it. It sounds lame. It sounds easy, whatever. I think the Jaguars have a good run defense. I think that Josh Jacobs, they'll be happy to give him a day off. Just put Jordan Love back there. Just let him pass against the worst secondary in the history of football. Ba-boom. Tucker Kraft, 3 touchdowns. Romeo Dobbs, 3 touchdowns. Throw in a Christian Watson bomb while you're at it. Easy
all right,
money.
let's do so we all got the Packers win this.
Yeah.
All right, so as of right now, the predictions are you guys both have the Commanders, I have the Bears, we all have the Lions, we all have the Packers. Last game, we'll keep it a little brief here because the shelf life isn't too long. Vikings at Rams, Cooper Kupp should be returning here. There's been some wild trade rumors about Matthew Stafford going to the Vikings circulating on Twitter, and whether Minnesota would trade, it could be Sam Darnold and picks for Stafford. All of that has my attention as a Viking fan, obviously, but it's a little bit of heart versus head for me, where I'm thinking, Sam Darnold has been so good this year, and you can't just throw him to the curb. He's been awesome. He's 27 years old. There's a world where he's actually the future. But on the other side of it, Matthew Stafford's really good at football. And if you think you can win a Super Bowl with Matthew Stafford, do you go do it? I mean, that's what the Rams did, and it worked.
Yes.
So, yeah, would you trade Darnold? Would you trade a first-round pick for Stafford?
Yeah, I think I would. I still think Stafford's one of the better quarterbacks in the league.
Well, we said on this show in week 1, he's the best quarterback in the NFC.
Yeah.
So why are we talking about this?
I think it's interesting. Do you not?
It's not happening. Who cares?
I mean, it's probably not, but if it does,
there's a 0% chance this happens.
This could be
one
Stafford's...
random guy on Twitter said maybe it's going to happen, and everyone who knows anything said there's no chance.
This could be Stafford's Vikings tryout.
It's fun to think about, though. What would you do, Ziggy, if the Rams called and said, "Hey, we'll give you Stafford for a first-round pick and Darnold"?
No,
you don't think so? I think I would.
Is that because of your loyalty? What's it because of?
The trade just doesn't make sense. You're bringing in Matthew, you're trading a first-round pick for a year of Matthew Stafford, not even half a year of Matthew Stafford. I don't think he makes that much of a difference for this team.
Could be 2 years.
I think first
round you're sticking yourself with that huge contract. You either have to play him next year at a $50 million cap hit or cut him, and still it's a disaster. No, you don't want Matthew Stafford in the building.
To me, first round picks are overrated.
Well, Ziggy made the big argument back when we were in college. He's like, what was it you were saying? What was it?
That's one of the picks.
33 better than 32. One of the most ridiculous.
Well, but that's just objectively true. That pick 33 is better than 32.
I think a random, unproven college kid, you never know. I'd rather have Stafford than a first round pick.
Do you think the Vikings can win the Super Bowl with Sam Darnold? Seriously,
I don't think they win the Super Bowl with either of them.
I think there's a much better shot to do with Stafford. I trust him more in the postseason than I do Sam Darnold.
The Vikings are ready to win, and that's if it happened.
Come on, if you replace Darnold for Stafford right now,
you view them differently.
If you were to replace Darnold for Stafford, the Vikings Super Bowl odds would shift a couple percent. It wouldn't make that much of a difference.
Well, no, I mean, look, Ziggy, I'm very open to people having your opinion on it.
I'm sure people agree.
I think that's why it's a fun hypothetical. There are some people who think
Google
Cooper
Kupp absolutely cooking Zach LaVine in high school basketball.
Oh, really?
he owned Zach LaVine in the Washington, or I can't remember, was it Washington or California, wherever it was, the high school championships. He obliterated Zach LaVine.
Look, as far as the Vikings-Rams game goes, it's not an easy game for Minnesota, even though a lot of people view the Rams and say, "Oh, what a horrible Thursday night game." The Rams are always going to be a tough out because they do have, I think Stafford's very, very good. And when Cooper Kupp comes back, this Rams team would be viewed a lot differently if Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua were healthy the whole season. When you have your two top weapons, ask anyone, if you take any team's top two weapons away outside of Kansas City, it's going to hurt the team a lot. And I feel that the Rams have been a little bit mistreated by the media because they've had some big injuries early this year. Cooper Kupp's coming back. We'll see how healthy he is. The Vikings, what I think is the key here is that the Vikings pressure is really good. I mean, they blitz all the time. Everyone knows Brian Flores is a lunatic. The Lions can make you pay, and I believe Matthew Stafford can as well, but he does not have the offensive line Jared Goff has to pick up some of these blitzes, and the Vikings have a very talented defense. I think it's a little too much as the game wears on. But would it surprise me at all? Like, doesn't this feel like the spot where the Vikings go and lose 2 in a row? They're 5-2, and now all of a sudden it's like, oh shit, sky's falling.
I think Minnesota wins this game quite comfortably.
I feel good.
Yeah, I think they win quite comfortably. I've watched the Rams a few times this year, and I've been backing them. I just don't think that they're very good. I think Stafford's a very good quarterback. Minnesota is a much better team in my eyes than the Rams are.
They are a much better team. Yes.
And playing like quote unquote on the road in LA, it's no real home field advantage there. An awful loss, a close, disgusting loss to Detroit, a 2-point home loss. They're going to take care of business now, the Vikings.
Go ahead, Ziggy.
I don't feel good about this one, Paul. The Vikings are coming off a brutal, hard-fought loss.
You stop.
The Rams
Just stop
are starting to build momentum.
Stop.
It's the Thursday game. I'm not feeling good about this.
We
Paul.
do seem to lose often in this spot.
Every single team this year that has played the Lions has lost their next game.
What's our record?
This Lions team, they just suck the energy out of you and they keep it for themselves.
I think there's a better chance that Minnesota would lose this game if they had beaten Detroit.
I want to see what's our Thursday night football record. Let's see. Vikings Thursday night football record. We're 15-14. I'm just going back to 1969. We've lost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of our last 10 Thursday night games. That's why I feel bad.
But that means
our only win was at Detroit, actually.
That was Thanksgiving.
Last 6.
That was Thanksgiving. That wasn't Thursday night either. So
that means nothing.
No, but I'm just saying, like, wait, all right, you know what? That's really rich coming from Jack here, that I have a bad feeling. And he's like, oh, that means nothing. That doesn't matter at all.
It's different rosters.
Like Mr. I share a birthday with...
we lost 20 years ago on Thursday Night Football. What does it do with this Thursday?
War Eagle. Auburn's winning.
This Thursday game. This Vikings team doesn't win these games because the Vikings never win these games.
So we lost 8 years ago on Thursday Night Football. We're going to do it again.
How many yards is Cooper Kupp going to put up, Paul? 250?
I think we're going to win.
Literally means nothing.
We should win. I feel good about the game, but there's that lingering thought in the back of my head that says, oh, we normally lose on Thursday Night Football. We haven't won a Thursday Night Football game in a decade.
It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
I'm just saying. November 7th, 2013, we beat Washington 34-27.
Look up like Sam Darnold's Thursday night record, not the Vikings Thursday night record.
Yeah,
I can get that more.
I don't think you want to look up his record. Here's what you should look up. Look up how good is Kyron Williams. And then look up what did Jahmyr Gibbs do to the Vikings.
I remember that game. Jeez, I can't believe how long ago that was. The Washington one they won. No, Jahmyr Gibbs. I think Jahmyr Gibbs is better than Kyron. But
I'm saying Kyron Williams is he's not far off.
If you ever meet me in person, if anyone ever meets me in person, ask me about Kyron Williams, my Kyron Williams story.
Kyron Williams.
So good.
It's a great story.
I've heard that.
Cannot be said on air.
Yes, I've heard that story.
I feel pretty good here. I'm just saying Thursday nights have been a little daunting as a Vikings fan, and I think the defense will really show up in this game after they were kind of embarrassed for 2 quarters against Detroit. So, all right, Ziggy, your bold prediction. Let's get out of here.
My bold prediction: Matthew Stafford's passing line is at a 235 right now. He's not going over that by a little bit. Cooper Kupp's back. Matthew Stafford with 350 or more passing yards. 350. He's going to absolutely carve up this defense.
If he does that, they probably
win. Why?
What do you mean why? He's good.
Cooper Kupp, man.
Cooper Kupp's good. But
Joe Noteboom's coming back too.
I think
Stafford's good against pressure.
So you think the Rams win, Ziggy?
And they've got
I think the Rams win this.
If he's throwing for almost 400 yards,
Darnold throws for 450.
Then it's a shootout.
All right, so there you go. Ziggy's got the Rams. We got the Vikings here. That'll do it for the NFC North preview show. We'll see you later this week. Thanks for tuning in, guys.